got a new car, and in this first video I'm going to talk a little bit about why I got this particular car and answer some of the questions that I've gotten about it since I've had it. So the first thing you need to know is exactly what the car is. This is a 1991 S13 Silvia, and it's a Q's model. So basically what that means is, you might be familiar, the Silvias were named based off playing cards. So you had the J's, the Q's, the K's, and then there were some other in-between models that came later on, like the Almighty. But basically the J's, the Q's, and the K's are the three main models of the Silvia. The J's would be like your base model car. The Q's was the middle level car, and then the K's was the top level model. So most people seem to think that all these cars came with turbos. I guess that's what people see on the internet, so they think that's what they're all like. That's not true. Only the K's came with the turbo. And so this car being a Q's, it's NA. The J's model, like I was saying, is your base model, came extremely plain. And the Q's model is basically the bridge between the J's and the K's. So the Q has all the power features like power mirrors, power windows, things like that of the K's, just minus the turbo of the K's. Also, with this car being a 1991 model, it's the first year that Nissan put the SR20 into these cars. Again, a lot of people seem to think that all these cars had SR20s, and that's not necessarily true. The S13, the first ones came out in Japan in 1988, and those cars had the CA18, and Nissan continued to put the CA18 in them up until 1990. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the common questions that I get about the car. With the steering wheel being on the other side, you get a lot of people that will stop you just randomly asking what the car is. And most people seem to think that it's a European car. When you tell them that it's a Nissan, they're usually pretty surprised. So then once you tell them that it's a Nissan, the next question that you get is, how do you drive it? A lot of people think that it would be really weird to drive from the other side of the car and have to shift with your left hand, but honestly it's not that unusual. The pedals, the shift pattern, everything's in the same orientation that it would be in a left-hand drive car. The only thing that's really backwards is the turn signals are on the right side instead of the left side. But you get used to all the little stuff like that really quickly, and honestly it's not that strange to drive on the street at all. So of the people that actually do know what the car is, I get a lot of the same questions from them too. One of the main questions that I get is, why did I choose to get a Q's model instead of a K's model with the turbo? And there's actually a number of reasons why I chose to get this exact car over a turbo model, and I'll talk about those right now. So this is the SR20DE, the non-turbo variant of the SR20. And a lot of people want to know why I got a Q's instead of a K's with the turbo. First of all, I'm a pretty big fan of NA cars, so the fact that it doesn't have a turbo really doesn't bother me. Secondly, I'm not going to be drifting this car or racing it, so I really don't need the extra power that the turbo model has. And another thing is that generally the people that buy turbo cars are the people that are going to drive it like it's a turbo car. This is generally more of just a commuter car for somebody in Japan. So generally these cars were taken a lot better care of. They weren't driven as hard, and they're just in better shape usually. To go along with the condition, this car, when I got it a couple months ago, only had about 80,000 kilometers on it, which is roughly 49,000 miles. So to me, I wanted to get a car that was really clean, that was really low mileage, something that you could work on more like a new car, in the sense that it's not ragged out, it's not rusty. This car has zero rust on it. Another common question that I get about the engine is, how does the non-turbo SR compare to the KA that we got in the US market S chassis? So like I said, I've had a couple other S chassis. I've had a S13 Coupe 240SX, and then I had a 98 S14 240SX, and both of those cars had KAs. And the biggest difference that I would say between the non-turbo SR and the KAs is the feel of the power band. The power is actually fairly similar, except with KAs, they have a torquey feel to them, but they really die out at higher RPM, where this engine feels a lot more like a sports car engine. It's got a 7,500 RPM redline, and you actually feel the engine building power as it revs higher, so the power band is just shifted higher. And another difference is that the SRs are all aluminum versus the KAs that have iron blocks, so the nose of the car feels a little bit lighter in turn-in, and you can feel the handling feels just a little better with the SR in the front of the car versus a KA. Aside from the different front end, the JDM S13s also have some different features that we didn't get here in the US, and I'll point those out right now. So one of the biggest novelties, first off, of the JDM S13 is they have power folding mirrors. A lot of the roads and the parking in Japan is really tight, and so the majority of the cars there come with power folding mirrors, and there's a switch in the center console that you can use to open and close them, so I'll show that right now. Another interesting feature that my car came with that apparently is a pretty rare option even in Japan is it came with a air purifier that's on the parcel shelf in the back of the car. To operate it, it's got a switch under the gauge cluster that has two different fan speeds that you can choose between. So this is the low speed setting. You may not even be able to hear it, it's really quiet. And this is the high speed setting. I've only done a couple things to the car so far as modifications, and the first one is I put a pair of S14 front seats in it, and I would highly recommend these for anybody with an S13. They are literally a direct bolt-in. The rails and everything are exactly the same, and they're way more comfortable. They've got a lot better support as far as the bolsters go, and I think they just look a little better as well. I also put these wheels on here until I find something aftermarket that I really like for it. But the stock wheels that come on these cars were just so ugly, and I had these sitting around. These are wheels that come stock on 4-lug, the base model S14 Kokeis, as well as 180SX Type X's in Japan. I also put this Buddy Club Spec 2 catback on it, and I kept the stock cat on it, but it's still really loud. I've got a baffle for it that's supposed to be coming in pretty soon, and I'll probably make a video of that on the car with and without the baffle, So if there's anybody interested in getting one of these exhausts, you can get a good idea of what it sounds like and how loud it is. So yeah, that's the basics of the car. I haven't done a whole lot to it yet. Everything that I've done so far has been really basic, like the seats and the wheels and the catback. I'll definitely be making more videos of it in the future. Any modifications that I do to it from now on, I'll probably make a video of it, because there seem to be quite a few people that are interested in these cars. The next thing that I plan on doing to it is coilovers. Should have those in within a week or so, and I'll throw a video up of what it looks like with the coilovers on it. Like I said, if there's anything else that you really want to see or know about the car, feel free to ask and I'll let you know.